Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Fitness Friday Posi-TIPS with Rachelle. We're on Fitness Friday. It is always the best day of the week. Gotta love it. Folks, I'm gonna open this week's episode up with something a little interesting that happened. I'm gonna highlight snippets of a previous story time and update you on something actually that happened this week. Very, very relevant. And I've often stated a number of times over the years, we are all tested, particularly from a leadership perspective. We are going to get tested, and I was certainly tested this week. I want to share what happened briefly before I kick this episode off. So, last year, I highlighted, was talking about decisions. It was more of a holistic type of conversation during the Fitness Friday episode. So I was talking about decisions, and so the tough decisions that we have to make in life sometimes, and sometimes recognizing that we're wrong. And so on that particular episode, I highlighted that I'd gone to a dentist, for a few years, and actually decided to leave and come to a dentist and try out a dentist that's actually closer to my home. And that didn't turn out very well because, as I stated in that episode, the new dentist was, belittling those dental practices, the 3 dental practices that had trained him and mentored him. And I'm just not very big on, people just disparaging, particularly people who have mentored and helped them in the past. Now, is anyone perfect? No. But it's just something about honoring, even when things don't go well, mentors and folks that have helped you along the way. And so anyway, I decided after that first visit, going back to my old dentist, whom actually I really, really liked. So long story short, went back to the dental practice last week, downtown Farmington, literally right down the street from my gym. And so, as I've mentioned a few times over the years, I have a practice, I have a value where I do not refer people to gyms, period. Even before Fitness Friday, that's just something I've just never done. And so this week, I was tested at my dental practice. So Wednesday of this week, I have an 8 a.m. dental appointment. So left my gym, literally drove down the street on Grand River, probably Grand River Avenue, 2 miles, maybe 3 at the most, very, very close, literally down the street from my gym. So anyway, got there a little bit early, waited anyway, and then was chatting up the dental assistant, the dental hygienist over because her son wants to go to LSU to play baseball. So I was having, like I said, far more friendly outside of the gym than I am in the gym. So chatting it up anyway. And so the dentist comes, getting ready to examine my teeth after they had been cleaned. I've been going to her, like I said, 4 or 5 years, very nice lady. And so what's going on? How's everything going? And I'm just telling her, yeah, I went to the gym this morning, and so this is so convenient because you guys are right down the street. And so she goes, oh, so what gym do you belong to? And then I was like, Edge Fitness. But I paused before I said it because I said, oh no, this could potentially turn into a drawn out conversation about my gym and whatever this and that. And so I said, Edge Fitness. One actually, it's down the street. I said, oh yeah, I know where that one is. And then she goes on to say, there's one right by my house. I live in Rochester Hills, and I'm thinking about joining it. Do you like it? And I said, yes. And that's all I said. Because again, that could have gone into a whole different direction of, well, let me tell you all the wonderful things about my gym, but I just don't do that. I just don't do that. And so can I just tell you something? And she's such a nice lady. She's a wonderful dentist. But when I said yes, when she said, do you like it? And I said, yes. And you can tell, because I think many of us in that situation would be like, well, tell me more. Like, tell me what you like about it. Like, say something. And I was just sitting there, yes. And it was dead silence. And can I just tell you the look that she gave me, that's what she was thinking. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, who just says they like it and that's it? They don't say anything else. And so, like I said, I didn't want to give a long conversation about what I liked and tell her, recently I went to the grand opening for the Warren location. So they have different locations here across this area. And so then I did tell her, and this was something funny, I said, you got to keep taking good care of my teeth, particularly the molars. Because I left that grand opening and drove 4.2 miles to Logan's Roadhouse, and had a 6-ounce sirloin. I love steak. I'm one of the most carnivorous people you ever want to meet. So keep taking care of my teeth. And so anyway, had a good laugh about that. But see, folks, we are all tested. We are all tested. When she's like, oh, I'm thinking about joining. What do you think? Do you like it? But, I've never been a promoter, and so I was certainly tested. So, folks, you have to remain committed to your values, and in particularly my particular case, from standards of objectivity, and just not, being a promoter of any entity, within the space. And so that decision is hers. It's up to her, and I'm going to let her make it, as I've always done with all my gyms, all different locations. So just had to kick off with something that was kind of interesting, and that certainly happened. But folks, now let's get down to business. So last week I talked about the case, highlighted the legal complaint, the state of Texas versus fitness influencer Brittany Dawn Davis, LLC, and actually read from the legal complaint, which you can certainly go back to that episode if you missed it, or you can find the complaint online, Brittany Dawn Fitness LLC, lawsuit PDF. You can find it and read it for yourself. But this time, I want to highlight another area where there's been challenges for many, many years. And like I stated last week, problems in any entity in the health and wellness and fitness space actually turns out to be a negative reflection on the industry overall when you think about consumer perceptions and what they think of the industry and what they think particularly from fitness entities. Problems in one area, in one sphere, even though it may not be directly in the fitness industry or directly in your area, it's kind of like bad news for one can be, that's gonna, perception-wise, can certainly spread to consumers overall. So wanted to highlight a very balanced article this week that talks about, you've heard me talk maybe 3 or 4 episodes, where I talked about multi-level marketing companies, and I refer to them as schemes. You've heard me say, it's very difficult for me to be objective and balanced in this particular area because I vehemently disagree and disapprove and find the business model, the MLM business model, deeply flawed. But what I have here is an article that I'm going to highlight and read in its entirety because it is balanced and it is going to help me to be objective. And I think because there are a number of these companies, or hundreds of these MLM companies, and a number of them are health, wellness, fitness based. So as I pointed out in previous episodes, it's important to be versed, to recognize what these companies are all about, what their products are all about, because like I stated, these companies, particularly during the coronavirus pandemic, grew and they proliferated. And so it's very important to be aware of what's out there, what's going on, and they've run into a number of problems, right from everything from class action lawsuits to receiving warning letters, which I'll highlight. Some of them received warning letters from the FTC back during the height of the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, for making bogus claims regarding the efficacy of their products and their supplements, really, to impact and to get rid of COVID and have these positive efficacy statements toward what their particular supplements could do to help people struggling with COVID. So anyway, and if you look at the history, particularly the MLM, the multi-level marketing industry, you see years and years ago, early in the infancy of the MLM industry, that started, some of the problems, quite frankly, started with Nutrilite. It was a supplement years and years ago, and that particular company at the time and that supplement was in trouble, for lack of a better term. We had problems, and then the same, again, health claims, product claims. So it started from the very beginning, just the challenges around this, and what are people saying, and how are they promoting it? Is it ethical? Is it the truth? The problems in that area. And let me just go on to say that MLM company, actually, MLM behemoth company, Amway, actually owns now the Nutrilite brand, and I just want to be fair and balanced and state that, since Amway's owned the brand, there haven't been any problems in that particular area with the Nutrilite brand. So I want to be fair. Those problems started out decades ago with Nutrilite, but now there have been no problems since the brand has been with Amway. So I want to be fair in that particular situation. So on to the reading. This is a lengthy article. It got my attention. It was originally linked in the Detroit Free Press, February 20th, 2022. And it talks about Herbalife, which is a very large multi-level marketing company that's in the health, wellness, and space, and very, very important, very, very big, very large. And so it's very important to be aware of what's going on and some of the challenges that have happened with this particular organization, but it's happened to a number of organizations. So like I stated, when you've got lawsuits, like class action lawsuits, and lawsuits being filed and settled and all of this, in this particular space, for any entity that deals sells and then it certainly promotes or offers supplements, there are key learnings and lessons to be had from this particular case, but other cases as well, because I think it comes back to a fundamental issue that I highlighted last week. What is being said? What is being promised? What is being promised? I have to be very careful about what is being said, what is being promised, what benefits are being touted. Is it scientifically proven what's going on? Because unlike back in my years in medical sales, we were regulated by the FDA, heavily regulated by the FDA. So we made bogus claims. We could get fired. Our company could get fined. We could go to jail. We could face personal fines. But it's very different with the MLM and nutritional supplements, which are not regulated. So it's just a lot more, in my opinion, just legal exposure in that area in terms of what people say and what people do and what they do to promote it. And it's just some problems there. Now, to be fair, to be balanced, in medical sales, do you have people that make these bogus claims and end up getting their companies in trouble and fined and all of this and that? Absolutely. There have been some bad actors in that particular space as well. So want to always be fair and balanced in this situation. So back to this article. And the article is entitled, Our New Herbalife Nutrition Clubs. You've heard me talk about the nutrition clubs before, so pay close attention. These things are growing all over the country. The title, let me start over. Our new Herbalife Nutrition Clubs More Honest Than Their Predecessors by Cassandra Liebringt of the Holland Sentinel. Now, Holland is a city in West Michigan. So it starts off by saying, it's been 5 years since Betting on Zero, a largely anti-Herbalife documentary asserting the organization as a pyramid scheme, hit the big screen. Herbalife is a self-described multi-level marketing corporation that develops and sells powder for meal replacement shakes, as well as dietary supplements and skincare products. The company, second in profit only to Amway and Avon, other multi-level marketing companies in case you're unaware, has long been accused of illicit business practices by recruiting customers to distribute products and promising tens of thousands of dollars in profits, so long as they recruit others too. For others, the company's nutrition clubs, commercial storefronts designed to recruit more distributors, were also met with skepticism. Critics of Herbalife argue club owners rarely, if ever, made money on their investment. After an extensive investigation and public turmoil, Herbalife was forced to restructure in 2016, reaching a $200 million settlement with the Federal Trade Commission and laying to rest claims it was intentionally deceiving customers about how much money they could make. Now, a half-decade later, consumers are often surprised when they stumble into an Herbalife nutrition club. The new and improved clubs are marketed as shake shops, with colorful concoctions splayed across social media pages. But clubs are still regulated by Herbalife and are specifically prohibited, emphasis mine folks here, prohibited from marketing themselves as retail establishments. Next section. Selling nutrition along the lakeshore. The lakeshore is home to at least 4 clubs. Locale Nutrition, Healthy Holland, Zealand Nutrition, and Healthy Fenville. All 4 businesses opened in the past 18 months. Locale Nutrition and Healthy Fenville declined to be interviewed for this article. Zealand Nutrition did not respond to a request for comment. But according to Kelsey Andres, owner of Healthy Holland, selling Herbalife isn't about convincing others to sell beneath her. Instead, offering shakes, teas, and coffees made with Herbalife products is about showcasing a company she believes in and owning her own business. If somebody comes in, we greet them and ask them how their day is going, Andres said. We show them our menu and explain that we're putting in drinks, what we're putting in drinks. Once they decide to order, we have them sign into our iPad so we can make a receipt for what we're doing. We don't try to hide the fact that we use Herbalife. Andres said she's lost 40 pounds using Herbalife over the past 5 years, but isn't familiar with the company's controversial past. I feel amazing and healthy, and it's something that works for me, she said. That's why I wanted to become a distributor to help friends and family. I ended up selling full-time and moved to Holland to open a nutrition club so I could bring nutrition to the community and help other people get results. I'm not completely sure about everything in the past or how it was run before, but we don't get paid by recruiting people or getting people to take the product home and sell it. That's partially true. Under the new restructuring rules, anyone selling Herbalife must be paid based on what they sell without the requirement of recruiting others, making it possible for entrepreneurs like Andres, to operate a club without pitching the business to consumers. There's still a financial reward, however, for building a downline. According to Andres, when she sold Herbalife to her mother, she was paid a commission between 25 and 50%. When her mother decided to sell, Andres made commission from that too. But I don't get paid if I don't do anything, she said. I have to have personal production. The business model, I really think it's continuously just evolving and changing. But we go through the health department and food and safety compliances and licensing, and it's just your choice or not to visit, whether or not to visit. Nutrition clubs like Healthy Holland, according to Spencer Ballard of the Ottawa County Department of Health, are licensed and inspected, just like any other food establishment, but the process isn't as complicated. All food establishments have varying levels of complexity and risk, Ballard wrote in an email to the Sentinel. These nutrition shops are not generally as complex from a food code perspective. That's in part because most clubs like Andres's don't use fresh fruit, milk, or other ingredients. Instead, beverages are a mixture of water and Herbalife product, plus toppings like sprinkles or shaved coconut. We use water, the meal replacement mix, and the drink mix, Andres said. People often add fruit to their shakes at home, but it's our personal preference not to. Rather than being a paid hourly wage, employees at Healthy Holland are mostly distributors, taking in their own credit cards and cash. They use cups, lids, and straws from the club in exchange for certain fees. And a report is generated at the end of the day. It's comparable to renting out a spot if you're a hairdresser or something like that, Andres said. Next session. It's a money game. Nutrition clubs are independently owned rather than franchises, but Herbalife provides a set of rules and requires all business plans to be submitted and approved according to the company's 2020 Nutrition Club Guide. Business owners must be a distributor for at least 12 consecutive months, and names, logos, and artwork for signage must be reviewed by Herbalife. Though owners insist their business isn't about recruitment, the company's own nutrition club, Success Wheel, details the process of converting retail customers into distributors and guiding them to open clubs of their own. But it's the marketing around the clubs that concerns Elle Merrill, a licensed dietitian and diabetes care manager at Holland Hospital. In bold, it says, editor's note, the views expressed by Elle Merrill do not necessarily reflect the views of Holland Hospital. I definitely feel like these businesses are unclear, she said. The first time I saw one in Grand Haven, I thought it looked like a fun business and assumed they sold real fruit smoothies. It wasn't until some of the local shops came along that I realized these are Herbalife products. There aren't any websites. All the marketing is on social media. We digress here for a quick second. The consultant in me just wants to say this again and to make this emphasis mine on this particular statement again. All the marketing is on social media. All the marketing is on social media. And going on, and you can't find ingredients listed anywhere online, and I feel like that's super misleading. I've seen them make false claims. Here we go, folks. I've seen them make false claims that you'll burn calories while you drink their shakes, or they'll use vague terms like clean energy. There's no such thing. That's not to mention the promotion of replacing meals with low-calorie drinks. It's telling people replacement shakes are enough, Merrill said. It's telling them they should be satisfied and full. These owners sometimes call themselves health coaches, but they're not qualified to be making these recommendations. That's really frustrating to see my local community being misled. When it comes to selling powder-based beverages, Merrill said, it's a money game. There's no money in real whole foods. Herbal and dietary supplements aren't regulated by the FDA, meaning Herbalife products aren't required to meet the same standards as other food and drink products. The company's offerings have repeatedly been linked to hepatotoxicity, including a report published in Acta Clinica Croatia, an internationally peer-reviewed medical journal in December 2019, in which Herbalife was linked to liver damage in a previously healthy patient. That's the game with all supplements, Merrill said. They can say their products are verified by in-house scientists and doctors employed by Herbalife, but that's not FDA approval. That's a real concern for people buying these things multiple times a week. There's also the amount of vitamins and minerals in these drinks, and I think that's a risky game to play. You don't know someone's medical history when they walk into your club. The top listed ingredients in Herbalife's nutrition shake mix are soy protein isolate, fructose, wheat flour, cellulose powder, corn bran, and sugar. The top ingredient in protein drink mix is also soy protein isolate plus non-dairy creamer, calcium caseinate, and maltodextrin. According to packaging, nutrition shake mixes have more than 20 vitamins and minerals, and protein drink mixes have almost 25. Herbalife insists no known hepatotoxin, also known as toxic chemical substances damaging to the liver, have ever been found in our products, according to its UK website. Nor has there ever been any conclusive evidence of concoctions between any of our products' ingredients and liver disease. In fact, there is no evidence to support any claims that consuming Herbalife nutrition products may be associated with liver injury or hepatitis among previously healthy individuals. Merrill advises asking for the nutrition label before ordering your beverage in any shop that might use replacement products, and consider the source of any health guidance. A health coach or nutritionist oftentimes doesn't have the education or experience like a dietitian does in order to provide you with safe, individualized, and evidence-based recommendations, she said. Merrill also recommends checking caffeine levels and looking for artificial sweeteners, both of which are tolerated differently by different bodies. If you already have a supplement regimen in place at home, it may be important to be able to look at the nutrition label yourself to know if you're getting too much of a certain vitamin or mineral, she said. Next section. We're doing exactly what we came here to do. Counterpoints. There's a counterpoint section to be balanced. And so I think it's important for me to read this article. Board-certified health and wellness coach Audrey Biker, a Hope College alumna with a certificate from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, sees multi-level marketing as part of the health and nutrition arena, and what works for one person may not work for someone else. I know so many of them, she said. I've been a customer of many of them. I get asked about them every single day in my business, and a lot of my clients will ask me what I think. Biker has been to local nutrition clubs and found the experience straightforward and transparent. Everyone is on their own continuum when it comes to improving nutrition and getting healthier, she said. If my clients are going to choose an Herbalife shake over McDonald's, then I'm definitely in support of that. I think transparency is the number one thing for me. Are you selling what you say you are? And they are. They're not hiding anything. They just really want to network and share the product. For club owner Andres, it's about building relationships. Outside of the club, I was able to create a community cardio drumming class, and we run it every Monday and Wednesday, she said. It's all been such a positive environment. I've helped people lose weight. I've helped people get back on track. We're doing exactly what we came here to do. So that's it. Lengthy article, but a balanced article, and this reporter did a good job on that. And so, as I pointed out in the article, and just to kind of hit some points home, from a marketing standpoint, so these nutrition clubs are not allowed to have their own websites. Okay, they're not allowed to advertise in traditional channels, as you heard me read. They're allowed to promote on social media, and that's all. And so you have to think, particularly from a new product or a service or a business launch standpoint. Yes, many places, many entities are successful doing social media only campaigns, but particularly if you're new, when you need to generate brand awareness. If your new club, your product, of your service, many times requires a multi-pronged and a multi-channel approach to marketing. And so you have to think from the standpoint of traditional brick and mortar fitness clubs, where the threat comes in, again, the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, or internal opportunities, and threats are external, where the threat comes in with these particular clubs are the fact that they can advertise in traditional means. From a marketing standpoint, it is far more advantageous, and definitely you see it. I've seen it in a number of places across the country where their clubs are within close proximity to fitness clubs, fitness centers, and studios. And if you think about it from a marketing standpoint, because from that standpoint, they already have people, the foot traffic, the organic foot traffic that's going to these clubs anyway. And so if they have their own nutrition club within close proximity, it's easier to generate business, certainly awareness, because you have people that are already in that space that will see your club and could potentially go in and become customers also of this nutrition club. So you have to recognize, you see these clubs, if they're in close proximity to you, just recognize what they are, and what's going on. And so, as I stated last year when I talked about my thoughts on the MLM industry and some of the thoughts on what I had and what I think of the business model, and I just don't agree with it, because again, the distributor standpoint, where you've got to recruit other people, And particularly, and you don't even just see this happening, just from distributors outside of fitness clubs. They're actually definitely on the private side, private clubs, where you see, them having affiliations, or the owners or people on the staff being members or being distributors for these MLM health and wellness companies themselves. So they are pushing product, they are pushing people to become distributors, and I just think from a personal perspective, just my opinion, is the fitness industry is tough already. People achieving fitness goals, health and wellness goals is a challenge already. But then to add an extra layer of then the potential of having, whether it be a owner or someone in leadership position, that is all of a sudden now members are coming in trying to work out and be trained and whatever. And now it's all of a sudden, well, you're buying these products, well, why don't you become a distributor so you can sell it yourself? I just, from a leadership perspective, just that kind of influence there is tough, because many people will look at leaders and think, well, I'm just going to do, whatever they say, and I don't want to disappoint them or make them mad. So I just don't like that dynamic there within the fitness industry, and that definitely happens in different entities. So wanted to share that article, but just be mindful of what's going on. Like I say, I want to be fair and I want to be balanced. Just read up, investigate, do your research, and draw your own conclusions and make your own decisions, about what you think. But just don't be caught flat-footed. If one of these clubs, and they are growing like wildfire, they are growing very fast. And that means, again, the number of distributors is always growing fast. And as I've alluded to, one thing you have to remember in the MLM industry, multi-level marketing industry, in health and wellness-oriented and fitness-oriented ones, as well as just, all different types of, there are hundreds of MLM companies that are available in this country, and that operate in this country, pardon me. And so you just have to recognize that there's just so many. There's just so many. And so you got thousands of distributors out there promoting, in this particular in the health and wellness and fitness space, thousands of folks out there, unregulated, just in some cases, and I'm about to, there's going to be a perfect dovetail segue into the next item of discussion, which is I'm going to read a document here, letter from the FTC, an announcement from the FTC. So I talked about this before, but I want to read specifically from ftc.gov. You got to be careful what you're saying, and it's, so again, supplements been around a long time. Many people love them. Hey, they're great, but as long as things are done, that's always what I'm going to say. Do things the right way. Do things ethically. Don't make unsubstantiated claims and promises, because that's where people get in trouble. That's where people get in trouble. And so I always want to keep you out of trouble here. That's certainly one of my goals here on Fitness Fridays, is just to make you aware of potential situations and problems so you can evaluate. Is this an issue? Could we tighten things up? The consultant in me says, is there an opportunity to tighten things up from a policies and procedures to make sure we're careful about what we're saying? So this letter was from April 24th, 2020, entitled FTC, or Federal Trade Commission, sends warning letters to multi-level marketers regarding health and earnings claims they or their participants are making related to coronavirus. So the subhead says 10 letters target companies pitching business opportunities, supposed health benefits in response to pandemic. Not going to read all of this. And it starts off by saying, the Federal Trade Commission today announced that it sent 10 letters warning multi-level marketing companies, in parentheses MLMs, to remove and address claims that they or their participants are making about their products' ability to treat or prevent coronavirus disease, or about the earnings people who have recently lost income can make, or both. According to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, there are currently no products that are scientifically proven to treat or prevent the virus. Again, this was before vaccines. Keep in mind, this is dated April 2020. So just keep that in mind, April 24th. So this is retroactive. So just keep in mind this happened back before all the vaccines. MLMs and other companies that distribute their products through the networks of distributors are responsible for the product and earnings claims those distributors are making, said Andrew Smith, director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection. During this health and economic crisis, we are on the lookout for false income claims for work-at-home opportunities, in addition to spurious health claims that products can treat or prevent COVID-19. And so it goes on to talk about the letters highlight specific claims made by the companies or their distributors in social media posts and videos posted online, including a video that includes a statement, quote, I can tell you that there's thousands of people that are out of work right now. They're all looking for a way to go earn money. This is a great stimulus package because you get to teach somebody how to go earn $1,730 literally in their first 10 days in the business. Last social media post that said, get the coronavirus, got the coronavirus heebie-jeebies, boast your immunity with this amazing deal. For clarity, I'm going to read this and that's going to move on to the next. The FTC sent the letters to the companies listed below. The recipients are grouped based on the types of claims made. Both health and earnings claims include doTERRA International, Prove It Ventures Incorporated, Total Life Changes LLC, Tronant, Modere Incorporated, Arbonne International. Next earning claims, ID Life LLC, It Works Marketing Incorporated. In parentheses, this company was also itself warned to stop making earnings claims. Last, Roden and Fields LLC. Lastly, health claims, Zervita Incorporated. So not going to read the rest. I'm going to move on to another FTC announcement that came June 5th, 2020, also from the FTC, found at ftc.gov. FTC sends second round of warning letters to multi-level marketers regarding coronavirus-related health and earnings claims. Subhead, letters to 6 companies target deceptive claims in response to pandemic. The Federal Trade Commission today announced that it sent 6 letters warning multi-level marketing companies, MLMs, in parentheses, to remove and address claims about their product's ability to treat or prevent coronavirus 2019, parentheses, COVID-19, or about the earnings people who have recently lost income can make, or both. This is the second set of warning letters to MLMs the FTC has announced as part of its ongoing efforts to protect consumers from COVID-19 scams. The letters highlight specific claims by the companies made by the companies or their participants in social media posts and videos posted online, including claims made in Spanish. And so the claims are pretty lengthy. And so I'm just going to go on and skip that. In the interest of time, it states the FTC sent the letters to the companies listed below. The recipients are grouped based on the types of claims that they made. So both health and earnings claims, Isagenix International LLC, the Juice Plus Company, Next earnings claims, Melaleuca, Next health claims, Longevity International Incorporated, parentheses, this company was warned about claims in Spanish and English. Next, Vivri, VIVRI, USA LLC, parentheses, this company was warned about Spanish language claims. Lastly, Plexus Worldwide LLC. And so that's some warning letters that came from the FTC. And so you just gotta be careful with what you're saying. And that's last year when I kind of highlighted what I thought of the MLM model. And the challenge with that model is where you have thousands of distributors operating as independent contractors, across the country, quite frankly, across the world, and trying to manage what they say and product claims and what are they. It is just very, very tough. And so what happens is, you have some bad actors, and then the company ends up in trouble with the FTC, whether it's receiving warning letters, like I've read from these particular entities, or class action lawsuits, or whatever the case may be, saying, well, your distributors were promising me this, I could use these meal replacement shakes and lose X amount of weight, and it didn't happen. So we just have to be careful. That's a common theme, as I stated earlier in this episode. Be careful what you tell people. Be very careful what you're promising, what you're saying, the results that they can expect. Because even commercials that you see on TV, whether it be for Nutrisystem, you notice you always see that disclaimer saying, again, the results may vary based on individual. And so you always want to have that objectivity, and also just the transparency to say, yes, this person received these results, but everyone may not experience these results. This person was helped in this particular area, but is it scientifically proven? You have to be very, very careful. And so that's what I've been stating on these last few episodes about the FTC and state attorneys generals are paying very close attention to health claims and from, again, their consumer protection division, the respective consumer protection divisions. What are people being told? And again, with social media being very prolific and people are able to go on and share complaints, and other people recognize, well, that person told me the same thing in the case I highlighted last week, where thousands of people we got on this Facebook group and said, well, we thought we were getting individual plans from Brittany Dawn's Fitness, Brittany Dawn Davis, and Brittany Dawn Fitness LLC, and it turns out we all have the same plan. We're all different people. So you just have to recognize, just be very careful what you are promising people. It's very tough, again, to manage individual conversations and what people are saying, particularly when you add the element of sales to the equation. To say, again, if someone is trying to sell something, and I talked about this in an episode early last year about sales culture and sales ethics. It is so important when selling a product or service to be very careful, to be fair, to be honest. Just do the right thing. Don't with the goal someone's trying to sell something or sell a lot of something. Don't make promises. Don't tell people stuff that isn't scientifically proven or true. Just play by the rules. Play by the rules, folks. That's all we got to do. Just play by the rules. Play by the rules. That cannot be stated enough. Play by the rules. And the last very quick point I want to make here on these income claims, and also want to point out another FTC announcement. Yes, it involves these multi-level marketing companies, but also companies in the gig-based economy, such as Uber and Lyft. So late last fall, so October 26th, 2021, FTC, the title of this announcement is FTC puts businesses on notice that false money-making claims could lead to big penalties. So, the subhead says, notice of penalty offenses can trigger large civil penalties for companies from multi-level marketers to providers of gig work. Just want to read a couple in the interest of time, and then I'm going to close this episode out. The Federal Trade Commission is putting more than 1,100 businesses that pitch money-making ventures on notice that if they deceive or mislead consumers about potential earnings, the FTC won't hesitate to use its authority to target them with large civil penalties. As the pandemic has left many people in dire financial straits, money-making pitches have proliferated and gained special attention. From multi-level marketing companies offering the dream of owning a business to investment coaches with promises of secrets on how to beat the odds to ubiquitous gigs that pitch a steady second income. Americans are bombarded by offers that often prove to be less than advertising. As a result, the FTC is deploying its penalty offense authority to remind businesses of the law and deter them from breaking it. By sending a notice of penalty offenses to more than 1,100 companies, the agency is placing them on notice that they could incur significant civil penalties up to $43,792 per violation if they or their representatives make claims about money-making opportunities that run counter to prior FTC administrative cases. Preying on consumers and workers with bogus promises of big earnings should never be profitable, said Samuel Levine, director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection. Today's announcement helps to ensure that companies that cheat struggling Americans will pay a heavy price. Lastly, I'm not going to read this all in the interest of time. The notice of penalty offenses allows the agency to seek civil penalties against a company that engages in conduct that it knows is unlawful, that has been found unlawful in a previous FTC administrative order other than a consent order. So folks, to close this episode out, just do the right thing. Just do the right thing. Even when it's, like I stated last week, even when it's hard, do the right thing. Okay, deceptive practices, unlawful practices, unsubstantiated claims, fraudulent claims. Like I said, problems within this space and any arena in the fitness industry is problematic because people hear this and they think, oh, well, this person told me that all I had to do was drink this meal replacement shake and I could lose 30 pounds a month. Folks, Google is your friend. Google is your friend in this instance. There's been a lot, of allegations made against, various companies with some of these products. And again, you just don't want to get caught up in making statements. Just do the right thing. Just do the right thing. You don't want to get warning letters from the FTC. You don't want to get fined by the FTC. You don't want any of your staff members or anyone else to create any legal exposure, for your business, for your facility, for your studio, whatever. Let's just all do the right thing. Everyone stay out of trouble. So I just wanted to highlight these and just some of the challenges that arise overall, because here on Fitness Friday, we've got to take a macro level view. Yes, a market level view is wonderful, but we want to take it up some notches to have a macro level view of what's going on in the industry, what are some of the challenges. And so while yes, some of the challenges that exist, yes, they are certainly a threat to the market, but the consultant and the trainer in me is say that there's also opportunities here. There's opportunity, there's learning opportunities. So I highlighted last week's legal case. I'm highlighting this case. Next week I'm going to highlight some other things that happen in fitness clubs and in particular in bricks and mortar. These are learning opportunities. Do we have any issues for each individual, each person to say, okay, so, how are we doing? Is there anything, do we need to tighten up some policies and procedures? Is there a training opportunity here? Because we don't want to get in any trouble. We don't want any of our people to get in any trouble, and I don't want any of you or your people to get in any trouble. So that's why I like to bring this to your attention. These are some, like I said, I'm taking a panoramic view in 2022 with these Fitness Friday episodes highlighting issues that I perhaps wouldn't typically cover, certainly in this type of detail, this granular detail, some of the challenges facing the entire health, wellness, and fitness space. Because like I said, challenges in one area, it doesn't just impact that one area. Because if if a customer has had problems with one company or a multi-level marketing company, with all due respect, again, there are good players in that industry, but there's some bad players. There's been some entities that have been litigated against and successfully litigated against and fined and had to restructure. And then you have organizations such as Boo Organics, which was forced to close down, and they weren't open relatively very long, which was Black Oxygen Organics. So it's just can be some problematic spaces in that arena, but also, hey, everyone can't paint everyone with a broad brush. But you just got to recognize, so if somebody has some problems in that area, and then they walk into a club, and then they encounter a situation where, hey, well, what about this particular protein shake, or what about this, and what about that, and they've had some bad experiences outside of clubs or in other arenas within this whole space. You just have to be mindful of that and knowing what are some of the challenges in that arena and how can they impact day-to-day operations, day-to-day sales of what is going on. Because yes, supplements are prolific certainly in the fitness industry, and certainly bricks and mortar clubs, very, very common, very, very popular. You see them in all types of fitness clubs. And so just be mindful of that. Somebody could come in, and their reticence to move forward with that could be based on problems that they've had in the past. So you just have to understand where they may be coming from and what is going on in that space, but also learn. I mean, there's always learning opportunities, and every opportunity, in every situation, good or bad, we got to ask ourselves, what can we learn from this? What can we learn from this? How can these challenges that I've highlighted, how can they make your entity better? How can you be more fair, more balanced, more objective, more transparent? How can I not make any mistakes or errors that may land us in hot water or land us in with a bunch of negative comments on social media, which is detrimental from a marketing standpoint. So folks, that is all I have for you today. That is it. I know it was a lot, but I'm trying to enlarge your vision in 2022 and beyond. And I look forward to continuing this conversation with some additional challenges next week. But until then, remember, I am positively passionate about your fitness, success, and leadership. Make it a great